forgotten.
Welcome to the David Sparks Show, an ongoing exploration of issues and thought by award-winning journalist, artist, and musician David Sparks. For more info, visit thedavidsparks.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much once again for tuning in to the David Sparks Show. And let's just get into it. It's a few days here before the New Year's. I hope you have a great New Year's. I hope you had a great Christmas time with your families. I had a great time. We've got some more coming up here. But let's talk about something non-New Year's related, although I'll get to that in a little bit. I had a video forwarded to me from one of the in-your-face personalities, the great Frank from the Frank Factor. And it was all about how we raise boys in this country. And it's called The Mask I Live In. And I'm going to play it for you here in a few. But it really gets to how we raise boys completely messed up. And if we look around society and we see a lot of men who have problems being men and who define men by being some kind of powerful ooga booga, me bigger than you type scenario, then we really only need to look to how we raise boys. And this really hit home for me because I was a member, tried and true, grew up within the confines of the, what I call, the Military Industrial High School Football Complex. And just what is the Military Industrial High School Football Complex? Well, it's essentially how we raise boys in America. The hyper-competitive, hyper-masculine, king of the hill, winner-takes-all scenario that we raise so many boys within in America.
Stop crying.
Stop with the tears.
Don't cry.
Pick yourself up.
Stop with the emotion.
Don't be a pussy.
Don't let nobody disrespect you.
Be cool and be kind of a dick.
Always keep your mouth shut.
Nobody likes a tattletale.
Bros come before hoes.
Don't let your woman run your life.
You a bitch.
What a fag.
Get laid. Do something.
Be a man.
Be a man.
Grow some balls.
The three most destructive words that every man receives when he's a boy is when he's told to be a man.
We've constructed an idea of masculinity in the United States that doesn't give young boys a way to feel secure in their masculinity, so we make them go prove it all the time.
Within their peer group culture, each of them is posturing based on how the other boys are posturing, and what they end up missing is what they each really want, which is just that closeness.
In good times, guys are like really close to each other, but when things get a little bit worse, you're on your own.
From middle school, I had 4 really close friends. Once I kind of went into high school, I struggle finding people I can talk to because I feel like I'm not supposed to get help.
Our kids get up every morning. They have to prepare their mask for how they're gonna walk to school. A lot of our students don't know how to take the mask off. What is it you don't let people see? Almost 90% of you have pain and anger on the back of that paper.
If you never cry, then you have all these feelings stuffed up inside of you, and then you can't get them out.
They really buy into a culture that doesn't value what we've feminized. If we're in a culture that doesn't value caring, doesn't value relationships, doesn't value empathy, you are going to have boys and girls, men and women go crazy.
Does that sound familiar to anyone out there? Yeah, it sure did here. Pretty much sounded like the history of my schooling from 7th grade through 12th grade. As I said earlier, I was I shouldn't say I was a member of. I'm a product of the American high school football military industrial complex. Played high school football, played some college football, served in the military. If you want to find a bunch of guys who played high school football, go to an army camp or any military camp, and they'll be full of them. Football in my family was pretty much number one, just above Jesus and fried chicken and home-picked green beans and tomatoes. Seriously, like football was worshipped as God in the house. Woody Hayes, no one could do any better than Woody Hayes. Three yards in a cloud of dust. Buck up, boy, if you're going to be able to handle this shit, because life is hard it's muddy, it's cold, and it's bloody. And if you're a pussy, you can't fucking take it. Get in the stands with the band and the rest of the pussies. Sounds kind of harsh, doesn't it? But that was pretty much the way it was coming in from 7th grade on up. 7th grade, I had a coach. I'll never forget him. These guys were classics. Both were local painters and construction guys who the school district had somehow talked in, or I don't know how they became coaches, because I don't think they had any kind of coaching certification. And they smoked during practice. It was classic. Just he would come to practices covered in paint with like his paint overalls with a cigarette and a ball cap on, and he just loved kids smashing into each other. The more aggressive they were, the more hyped he got, the more hyped we got. And if you weren't down with that, he'd pull up the back of your jersey, especially if you were in any kind of drill that involved hitting, like we used to do. What were those things? Anyway, you get one guy in the middle, and you'd be surrounded by people, and then they call out numbers, and you'd have to, look around, see who's coming, and try to defend yourself. And you can just any kind of one-on-one hamburger drills. We would just get two guys, 10 yards away, and just run straight on at each other. One guy had to tackle, one guy had the ball, and if you didn't go all out at it, come and pull up the back of your jersey and say, "Boys, this is just what I thought. Got a goddamn yellow streak going right up his back." And you know what I feared worse than anything else during that 7th grade football season? I feared he's got a goddamn yellow streak running right up his back. And so every time I had a chance, I basically acted like a complete aggressive maniac on the field, endearing myself to the coaches. I got a lot of playing time. Was always called on during the hamburger drills as one who would basically just sacrifice all life and limb, because we had guys on the team that were bigger and stronger and faster than me, but that wasn't nearly as frightening as being called out as being a pussy in front of all the other boys. And so you can believe it that I wasn't going to let that happen. And once we saw it a couple times, the rest of the herd and the tribe was like, "Oh no, that ain't." And he really kind of improved the team's performance as far as being aggressive and hitting hard and all that stuff. But when I think about it now, I'm like, that wasn't really cool to pull kids aside, 7th grade boys, and point out how yellow they were. Another great memory in the lexicon of 7th grade football memories is we got absolutely trampled one evening by the Trotwood Rams. I forget the score. It was ridiculous. It was just touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. We couldn't stop them. They had some kind of national sprinter on the team who they basically gave him the ball and ran around the end and no one could catch him. And so we got back to the school, and the hardened old Briar hillbilly football coach, painter, construction man by day, 7th grade football coach by night, got us all, I think there was like 40 players on the team, got us all off the bus. This was like 7:30, 8 at night. 7th grade boys, mind you. And got us all out on the field doing bear crawls. If you don't know what a bear crawl is, essentially you get on all fours and crawl. Not with your knees, but your legs up, arms up, and crawling forward. And had us all do 10 100-yard bear crawls. That means one time, there were 200-yard bear crawls. One time down, one time back. That's 100 yards each way. And it's like 2,000 yards, I believe. Anyway, half of the parents, well, actually more than half of the parents removed their kids from the team, saying this is ridiculous. You lost a game, but you're going to come back and punish these kids after the game. And Lee's attitude was like, well, if they're that big a pussy, then we don't need them. And I'm sure he took all kinds of hell for it, but he stuck his ground. And as the year progressed, we had like 15 guys on the team. And if I remember right, we ended up winning the rest of the games and becoming a lot stronger the following year and the year after that. I think we had a couple undefeated seasons. And I really give this guy, that's why I have these mixed feelings. Like, man, he taught me to totally not back down or be shamed or, face a lot of negative social consequences. Taught me not to quit even when everyone else was quitting. Even when you're a minority and the majority are quitting, if it's something that you want to stick with. And so, man, I'm like, yeah, I did all these negative things, but I got some positive out of it too. Skip forward to high school. The coaches there were even more machismo. It was a dog-eat-dog world, boy, that you're going to be going into. And if you can't take it, we don't need you. That was essentially the attitude. You want to see a bunch of losers? Look up in the fucking stands. That's where the fucking losers and the pussies and the babies are. They're watching you, boy. They came out to watch you. It is Friday night in America, and you better be proud of your hometown because they're here to watch you, and you're here to represent them, and you need to go out there and whoop some ass for your town, son. From the moment that first whistle blows, I want you to run down there with every single mite in your body. I want you to think of your mama, your daddy, your grandparents, everyone that loves you and everyone that hates you. And I want you to take out all the vigor and the venom that you have built up over this time, all this hard work you have put in. And I want you to dominate. You got to think every single play, I will dominate this person. I will visualize myself dominating this person when I'm off the field. When I am on the field, my only mission is to dominate my opponent each and every single play of the game until he is bowed to me in submission. Do you get it, boy? That goddamn guard pulled and you look like you're going to pee your pants out there. What kind of... Jesus, you got to take on the blocker. You got to take on those blocks. Jesus Christ, Sparky, that's the way you fucking hit someone. That's the way you fucking do it! Woo! No pain, no gain, boys. No pain, no gain. I don't think I've ever been as disappointed in a team as I am right now. When you had your chance, you folded. You acted like all that time we put into practice was for nothing. You practiced beautifully and you came out here and played horrendously. I want you to get out there on the field. I want you to hit him. I want you to tackle him. I want you to put your face mask on his face mask. I want you to spit in his face and breathe fire into his eyes and tell him you are going to take him and his mama down. Jesus H. Christ, that is the way to play the game. Now, why can't we do that every single time? Don't be a bunch of goddamn yellow belly baby ass cowards. You need to hit them so hard on the first play from scrimmage that they quit right then and there. Even if we lose the game, we will hit them so hard on every play that they will be sorry to have played us. Man, don't be a fucking pussy, dude. There ain't nothing worse than a fucking pussy. Fucking pussy, fucking pussy, fucking pussy, fucking pussy, fucking pussy, fucking pussy. And there, ladies and gentlemen, you have, in a nutshell, my football career. I've got mixed feelings, as I said earlier, about the whole aggressiveness. I think there's a place for teaching boys to be aggressive, when they're going to need it in life. But the way that we do it in America, where we push this hyper-competitive masculinization of boys at a really young age and teach them to compete against each other in physical skills, many of them not really prepared compared to other boys. Development is really topsy-turvy at these younger ages. we do a real disservice to the psyche of a lot of kids who, see their worth as lesser. I was kind of, lucky myself. I made it out of the whole thing as a Johnny football star. But then again, at the same time, I felt that disabled me in a lot of aspects. I didn't pay as much attention to my academics when I was younger. And at the same time, a lot of people, when they learned, oh, you're a football guy. And oftentimes, people won't treat you with the intellectual respect that you may deserve through your life experiences, your studies. They see you only as the man behind the pads. And that was something that when I stopped playing football, it's always been kind of a constant theme for me, is a lot of folks only kind of want to talk to you about the football days, the glory days, and, athletes get saddled down with this falsehood that they're not multi-dimensional creatures. Not only do they have an athletic side, but they have an intellectual side as human beings. And my participation in the high school football military industrial complex at a young age, I think, saddled some of that for me, where I could have been more vigorous studying than paying attention to physicality that provided me with, gratification as far as recognition. But in the long run, it did as many, I think it did just as much good as it did bad. The same aggressiveness that you're taught can also be a hindrance in situations where you may not need to be aggressive, or you may not need to come all out with, I ain't afraid of nothing, motherfucker, which is the kind of attitude they try to inculcate within boys at the adolescent age, especially boys involved in athletics, and especially the really aggressive athletics like football. It's really at that competitive apex of sports where we see this hyper-competitiveness, buck up, boy, man up. And we see it, unfortunately, and really the most tragic part of it all is we see it in older men, and the same attitude that we try to inculcate in boys, we see in men as leading to tragedy after tragedy after tragedy, whether it's a domestic violence situation, a murder, a suicide, men creating war on other men. It never leads to any good. It just leads to chaos in society. It leads to a giant empty spot within the men who have, been involved in perpetuating this competitiveness and really kind of ultra man-on-man violence philosophy as a way of life and as a way to live and as a way to get and achieve in life what you need and want. And if that's the way we're going to raise our kids in this country, which we do, it's really sick. It demoralizes kids at a young age who aren't able to compete with the silverbacks of their generation. And it just kind of takes us to that level of a base, brute, might makes right type of ideology. When we teach our boys that, instead of teaching, hey, man, if you got a disagreement with another kid, maybe work it out. See, why he's mad, and maybe listen to him, and maybe have him listen to you if he's willing to do that. No, instead, buck up, man up. And we need to find a way to do something seriously different, because after all these kids are individuals with minds outside of just minds for a football field or a basketball field or a baseball field or whatever field or whatever plane of competitiveness or just being a general tough guy is expected of them. And with that, I'm going to introduce you to some music I was a part of writing and performing, because beyond my athletic prowess way back in the day that is meaningless to me now, my creativity, my sense of who I am is not, and music is reflected in who I am and how I like to express myself. And I think the arts and getting more young boys involved in the arts is a super positive thing. We should expand them as much as possible and take the competitive nature out of them and just let them shine. Let them create without the pressure of, oh, am I going to be accepted by the others? Are they going to think of me as a lesser being because I'm not the toughest silverback on the block? And most of us aren't ever going to be the toughest silverback on the block. And if you get involved in the game of being the toughest silverback, the problem with that is there's always going to be a bigger, stronger, tougher silverback coming up behind you to make your world worthless and seemingly meaningless. So, with all that said, what do you guys think about how we raise our boys? What do you think would be some great solutions that we could employ maybe on a personal and societal level? You know, because the messages we're giving them, a lot of them are the same ones we got when we were kids, and as we can see with a lot of folks, those aren't working out. But, yeah, arts, music, expression, feelings, it can get us back on track to be empathetic human beings that we are. And one of the ways we can do this is through music, you know. And this is something that I'm really proud to have been involved in and still am involved with. The music of Drexel, which I help write and perform with my great longtime friend Brian Pelfrey. Anyway, this is called Monolithic Beast, and it's from our album River of Chowder. You can find it on iTunes, I do believe.
Look in the middle, monolithic beast that's robbing my soul like a pedophile priest. I've been drawn into the hopeless well of survival, more boring than an autistic sermon at a country revival. In the empty space of the day, my brain is running wild. The constant beat of capitalism is a killing my desire. So I sneak into the restroom, set my brain on fire. Next to the brass who's a jacking off, this life is getting tired.
Loneliness is cooking and your dreams are retired.
All right, welcome back to the David Sparks Show. It is the final episode of the David Sparks Show in our first year of podcasting, vlogcasting. You can check me out at TYT Nation, the channel on YouTube. I'm at thedavidsparks.com. I'm here at inyourfaceradio.net. And I appreciate everyone for your support on the Facebook page at The David Sparks Show, at David Sparks Show at Twitter, and I think I'm probably forgetting something, but I really, the YouTube viewers, I really appreciate you guys as well. Everyone equally, everyone who happens upon this, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. And with that said, I bring you my wishes for 2014. But before I do that, I want to wish you a happy 2014, and I hope you get everything you're looking for, as long as what you're looking for does not impede the happiness or rights of others or hurt you. That wouldn't be cool. I want you to have a good year, and I want you to live, love, laugh, all that stuff. I don't want to sound like a inspirational meme. But with no further ado, I give you the David Sparks Show wishes for 2014. Happy New Year. For 2014, I wish that we don't hear no mess from Kanye West no more. I wish that the United States government would stop slaughtering wedding parties in countries featuring predominantly brown people. I wish that Chuck Cleaver would finally be recognized by the American public for the songwriting genius and national treasure that he truly is. Check him out at Wussy, that's WUSSY.org. I wish that all of humanity would finally come to the realization that this is just one reoccurring play on a biological sphere chortling through the universe. Is it a hologram? Is it real? We may never know. I wish that all of you have a happy new year. Enjoy yourselves. Stay out of jail. We'll be back in 2014. Thank you very much. I'm David Sparks. Sayonara.